Hi, this is Kelly with True Bias. Today we will be going over the zipper portion of the Skirt sewing pattern. If you're following along in your instructions, we're starting with step number 6 and we'll be going through step number 18. You should already have your left and your right front panels put together. The instructions call for either a 5, a 6, or a 7-inch zipper. Now, depending on which size you are sewing will depend on which size zipper you need, so just look at your instructions for that info. If you haven't done so already, apply fusible interfacing to the wrong side of the left fly front. You also need to trim the extension along the line from your pattern pieces along the right side only. Sometimes this line can get a little wonky when you're sewing, so if you need to, you can also just redraw that line straight, which is 1.25 inches away from the edge. Using your desired method, which for me is serging, you need to finish the seam allowances of both your left and your right center front edges separately. This can get a little tricky when you're going around the curves at the bottom of your extensions. Don't worry too much about this, just try to do your best, knowing that eventually it will all be covered with your fly shield. Next, you're going to press back a 1/2 inch on the right front skirt panel so that it's even with the raw edge below the extension. You're going to press it to create a guide and then you're going to open it back up. In the same manner, fold back the left front skirt panel along the edge of the fusible interfacing this time. Press it to create a guideline and now open it back up. With right sides touching, you're going to pin the left and the right center front panels together. I like to start at the dot and make sure it matches there and then pin all the way down. And now you're going to sew that center front edge from the hem all the way up to the dot. Make sure that you backstitch a few times at that dot to make sure that it's really secure. You want the left front skirt facing up and the right front falling down and out of the way. Take your zipper and flip it upside down, and with it facing down, the right edge of the zipper tape should be lined up with the fold you created as a guideline earlier. The top of the zipper should be flush with the top raw edge of the skirt. Pin along the right edge of the zipper. Put the zipper foot onto your machine. Backstitching at the top, you're going to stitch down the left edge of the zipper tape. Because the zipper pull is bulky up at the top, you're not going to be able to stitch straight around the zipper pull. Don't worry too much about this. This line of stitching will not be visible on the outside of the skirt, and if you force it to be straight, it's going to push the zipper pull over to the right, and it will not be invisible when you're wearing your skirt. Make sure that you backstitch again at the bottom of the zipper tape. Remove the pins that you used to secure your zipper tape and turn the fly extension along with the fly that you just stitched to the inside of the skirt. Fold it along the fold line that you pressed in earlier. Now you're going to go ahead and pin that in place. With your skirt now facing up, unzip your zipper. Take the folded right front edge and line it up along the right edge of the zipper teeth. Be extra careful at the bottom of the zipper, making sure that everything is tucked in to the left side of the skirt and that everything lays nice and flat. Pin it in place. Adjust the stitch length on your machine so that's a basting stitch. With a zipper foot on your machine, you're going to baste close to the folded edge to secure the zipper to the right front. Partway through basting, leave your needle down, pick up your presser foot, and pass the zipper pull underneath to close the zipper. Once the zipper is closed, you can continue basting. You should end your basting as close to the lower edge as possible, realizing that you will not be able to get all the way to the end. Zip up the fly at this time to make sure that the yoke seams are aligned, everything is laying flat, and the zipper is tucked neatly into the left side of the skirt. Press the whole center front seam allowance towards the front left fly when wearing the skirt. Go ahead and grab pattern piece number 17, which is your top stitching guide. Line it up with the top edge and also with the left front opening edge. Using the pattern piece as your guide, you're going to mark the left front stitching line on the right side of the skirt. You can do this with a chalk pencil or some kind of a disappearing pen. Since we'll be stitching on the top of the skirt now, I like to take those pins and bring them around to the front of the skirt. Doing 3 lines of top stitching next. The first line of top stitching will be along the markings that you just made. The second line of top stitching will be a 1/4 inch inside of the first line of stitching. The third line of top stitching will start at the edge of the fly top stitching and end at the hem. Return back to a regular stitch length before proceeding. Take your fly shield and fold it in half with right sides touching. Stitch along the lower end at a normal 1/2 inch seam allowance and then turn that fly shield right side out. Make sure that you get good points at the corners and give it a good press. finish the inner long edge of the fly shield with either a zigzag stitch or serger. With the skirt facing up and the zipper open, place the fly shield under the right front opening edge. The finished edge of the fly shield should slightly cover the right zipper tape. Once you have everything lined up the way that you want it, go ahead and pin it in place. This is what it should look like from the back side. Using a zipper foot, top stitch the right front along the zipper on top of the previous line of basting stitches. You're going through all layers and catching the fly shield in this line of stitching. While you're doing this, make sure that you're keeping the left front free as you sew. Midway through stitching, you'll need to leave your needle down, pick up your presser foot, and pass the zipper pull underneath to close the zipper. Once the zipper is closed, you can continue stitching down to the bottom. Once you get as low as you can, go ahead and backstitch to secure. If visible, remove any basting stitches. In preparation for bar tacks, switch over to your zigzag stitch. Experiment with your zigzag stitch to get the length and width that you like, but here are the settings that I prefer. Your bar tacks should each be about a ½ inch long, and they go through all layers including the fly shield. The first one should be at the bottom of the inner curved stitching line of your top stitching on your fly, and the other should be at an angle about 1 inch up along the outer curved stitching line.